Now, I just saw a Twitter thread that has sent me on an existential spiral. I'm like, I honestly feel like, consider this your content warning, because, I mean, if you are not in a headspace for an existential crisis, just do not proceed. So it all started with this tweet. This person said, I just saw a TikTok where someone talked about what it was like to be in a coma, that you could feel time, have dreams, and literally just feel stuck. Now, I've heard that before, which I always thought that a coma is you're just unconscious, but apparently I've heard that, like, you can be aware that you're in a coma or, like, feel time passing. But then, these were some of the replies. This person said, I was in a coma. I thought I was just alive living my life. I had no idea I was in a coma whatsoever. So I think it differs from person to person. So she was in a coma and was just living her life doing normal everyday things, didn't know she was in a coma the whole time? This guy says he's been in 3 different comas. It's usually just like you're living life. It may differ from person to person, but I've lived 8 months and 4 days in a coma, and I still have very vivid memories of things that never happened. Yo, is it me? Am I crazy? He said the second coma he had, he woke up and he could only speak Serbo-Croatian. He had gone on a world travel in a coma, but meanwhile he was still in bed. But in his coma state, he thought he went and learned Serbo-Croatian and like went and traveled to Europe. He lived an entire life. And then there was this girl who said, my uncle was in a coma. He had vivid memories about the hospital's basement being filled with snakes in a certain spot. He woke up begging them to let him see the basement. They wouldn't. Finally, they let him go with the HR of the hospital, and there were snakes there and in the hospital vents. My mom was in a coma for 6 weeks after a terrible car accident. At one point, she woke up and started speaking fluent Spanish. They had to bring a Spanish-speaking nurse to translate, and then she went back into a coma, and she doesn't remember much of it. Y'all, am I in a coma? Would I know? Like, what? End on a bit of a lighter note, this person said, my mom was sent home comatose from hospice. She'd go days totally unresponsive. One afternoon, while the caregiver was gossiping to the hospice nurse, my mom opened her eyes and told her she was talking too much before going back to unresponsive. If somebody pulled themselves out of a coma just to tell me to shut the fuck up, I would never speak again for as long as I lived.